Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. So today I have a very special guest. I think many of you are already familiar with her. Her name is Michelle Melendez. Her YouTube channel is Inner Blossom Wellness, and she's here to talk about the affidavit that she wrote up that will be going to the governor's office,
Mhm.
the Maui City Council, and the Maui Mayor's office. So she has some action items that you guys can do to get involved, and I'm going to let her explain what she has written up and how you guys can get on board. So,
Yes. Yeah, aloha everyone. And it's actually Blossom Inner Wellness
oh, I'm
is my
sorry.
channel. That's okay. It's all right. And also, so this first affidavit is going directly to the governor, and then I have to write a different one for Maui, which I already actually have written. I'm just getting it revised by a couple. That's going to go to the Maui City Council, and then we have to do a different one for the Maui Mayor because what these affidavits are. These are the power of the people. So when you go to your city council members and you do a testimony and there's like over many people saying no, opposing something, and then a few people saying yes, it's the obligation of the city council to follow the will of the people that is under their oath of office. And if they don't do that, they perjure their oath. So I want to show you guys what our power is, because so many people go, oh, the government's just doing that, and oh, we have no power. No. The government is for the people, by the people, and our obligation as citizens, as actually I shouldn't say citizens, as living men and women, is to make sure these people are upholding their oath and honoring the Constitution. And the governor clearly has not done that. So, Traci, I just want to say thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, of course, of course. Um,
So, this also is just so you guys know, I'm going to use this also at the Voice of Kona radio show. It's 100.5. And if you guys want to go to the Voice of Kona radio show, that's online. You can listen to it anywhere in the world. But let me just go ahead and just start by sharing my screen and getting going with all of the things that I want to share with the affidavit. So first, scrolling down, bring it down here. This is Maui Fires. If you go to standtogetherhawaii.com, you're gonna find / Maui Fires. There's all the information I'm sharing with you is on this one page. You cannot miss it. There's so much information, and I'm gonna actually put the affidavit on there as well. But first, let me go here. Actually, I'm going to move this over here so you can see. There it is. This is the affidavit that's going to be going to the governor. And basically, it goes over all of the constitutional amendments and the Hawaii Constitution. So what you have to understand is that before these government officials take office, they have to do an oath of office. And their oath basically states that they will protect and support and protect the Constitution of both the United States and Hawaii. And the constitutional amendments that the governor of Hawaii has broken are 1459 of the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the Bill of Rights of the Hawaii Constitution, in particular, Article 1, 2, 7, 8, 16, and 4. And so let me just go over these quickly, and then I'll show you guys more. The First Amendment basically is the freedom of speech and the freedom of the press. So many times, 2 weeks after I'm sorry, I think it was 8 weeks, and I think I got it off of your show, was the governor suspended all of the media, could not get into Lahaina. You can't do that. That's against the Constitution. So you can't just say no media, you're not allowed in here. But that's what they did. The Fourth Amendment, as well as people, you can't do that to people as well. So that totally violated the First Amendment. The Fourth Amendment, which bars the governor from unreasonable search and seizures of individual property. There was a guy, Jeff Stevenson, who did a testimony on September 14th to the Maui City Council. And he basically said that the EPA was allowed to sift through people's private property, but people were not allowed into their property. So that is a search and seizure, and that is a violation of the Fourth Amendment to our Constitution, to our Bill of Rights. The Fifth Amendment, which gives people protection against the taking of property by the government without compensation, that's the same thing. They weren't allowing people back to their property, but they were allowing other people in. You cannot do that. The Ninth Amendment, which is pertaining to the enumeration of the Constitution of certain rights that shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. So what this means is that if you can't have a law that goes with some people and not with others. So what the governor is trying to do now is he's trying to tell short-term rental properties, you guys have to be long-term rental property. You have to be long-term rental properties. Now, granted, that would support the people, but you cannot tell people what to do with their property. You can't do that. Plus, that also is a law that goes toward one group of people and not all people. You can't do that. That's what the Ninth Amendment is saying. You cannot have a law that goes toward one group of people and not all. And the governor can't make laws. I'm going to explain that very clearly. The Hawaii Constitution, Articles 1, Section 2, 7, and 8. Let me just pull this up because this is, let me show you guys this. Oh, here it is. This is the Hawaii Constitution. Oh, sorry. Let me bring it up here. I'm going to stop screen and then share my screen again so that you guys can see it. And here we go. This is the Hawaii Constitution here. It's really important for us to know our Constitution and our Bill of Rights and our rights. Otherwise, we have no power. We do have a lot of power, you guys, a lot of power. The Constitution of the State of Hawaii, Article 1, Bill of Rights, political power. All political power of this state is inherent in the people, and the responsibility for the exercise thereof rests with the people. All government is founded on this authority. So if our government body is not going with the will of the people, that's when our power is through the affidavit. Now, I've been doing activism work since 2020 when all the stuff is going down at the COVID, because I've been a health and fitness expert for almost 30 years, understanding the human body and understanding viruses, and you know that Latin, the actual phrase for virus it comes from Latin, and it means toxin. So that's a whole different topic. But the reason I'm sharing that is because I didn't understand the power we had. I did protests, I did petitions, and that, granted, those are really, really important. Like Germany right now, they actually won their protest. The farmers were getting taxed on their food so astronomically that they were going to be going out of business. So the farmers went to the capital in Germany and basically did a standstill. They closed. They actually had the government buildings needed to close down. They sprayed manure. These German farmers sprayed manure on government buildings to say, you guys have no power over us. You're not going to do this to us. And the government backed down. So I absolutely believe in protests. And I feel that here in Hawaii, with the mafia running the freaking government, our first step is this affidavit of truth. So what the affidavit of truth basically says, it goes to the governor and it tells the governor, hey, you can't do this. These are the constitutional laws you have broken, and you have to rebut this. This is an affidavit of truth, and it stands as truth in law. So we will be taking the governor to civil court, which we can do without a lawyer. And if he does not rebut, meaning he doesn't write us back and say, oh, no, I'm not, this isn't true. I'm totally honoring the Constitution. This is how I'm honoring it. If he doesn't send us an affidavit that rebuts ours, then we go to court and we stand on the affidavit of truth, and he doesn't have any backing. It stands as truth in law. So this man will be needing to step down, and in a very peaceful way. So I want to keep going, but I'm curious, do you have any questions? Do you want me to share anything more other than what I say to Traci?
No, I figured you're going to get to the part where people can actually do something to get involved, right?
Yes, thank you. So let me share screen and go back to where I was, give an affidavit. This is here. Oops, sorry guys. Let me stop here. So basically, if you go to Stand Together Hawaii, standtogetherhawaii.com, and you click on the email, and you click to join us, you're going to get an email that states this is how to help. Or Traci, I can just actually send you the link to the affidavit, and you can
Put it in
actually
the
put that in the
description.
description.
Sure.
And then people can, all you have to do, if you're an American citizen, or I'm sorry, I keep saying citizen. The reason why I don't want to say citizen is because that is a slave term. And that's a whole nother topic, because the government is not, our government in the United States is not a government anymore. It has been taken over by a corporation. It has an EIN number. It has a Duns and Bradstreet number. And the word citizen turns us as living women and women into kind of slaves. And I know that that's off topic, but living men and women of America, all you have to do is fill that, take it, copy it into Word or copy it into Pages in a Mac, and change whatever you don't feel is factual. And then if you are in Lahaina in Maui and you have your own testimony, you can add that into the affidavit, add in what your testimony is, so that that goes with the affidavit and shows how you personally were harmed. Other people around the world, you are also able to do this. It just, I believe it just doesn't hold as much weight because you're not in the United States. But if you are an American, if you are in the United States, you can print this out. It holds more weight. And all you do is send it to the address that's already on the affidavit. And then what is going to happen is it gives him 15 days. Normally it's 30 days, but we're shortening it. So I'm shortening it to 15 days. And then we don't hear back from him. We take him to civil court, which I will be doing. And we can do. That's our right. And we want to do a civil court case with a jury, not with the governor, the judge, with a complete jury of our peers to talk about how he has perjured his oath of office so many ways. And I can show you more if you want. Is there anything else you want me to share?
I
But
have a little thing that I wanted to share that I don't think I've shared about the freedom of press. When I went to Lahaina to just kind of check things out, I was hoping to speak to people. Of course, they weren't very open to speaking. They had signs, no media, no press, no pictures. And one of the hubs, I don't know what this guy's plan was, but he followed me around and was trying to figure me out and asked, "Are you writing a book?" And I said, "No, why would I be writing a book?" And he kind of like backed off, and then he approached me again and asked me, and I was kind of taken aback, but I think his job was to prevent people from reporting on what's going on.
mm,
I
yeah,
mean, that's just
absolutely. So what people
crazy.
need to understand is that Maui was attacked. And when I was sitting at dinner last night with an uncle, and he doesn't believe this. But I'm just going to show you a little bit more about how this is true. I mean, it's a scary thing to think about. But actually, let me go here. I got to open up the right page for you guys. You know, when I said that to him, he was like, "No way, that's not true." But let me show you. If you guys haven't seen my video on the 48-year arborist, here it is. This is just the highlight of it. Oh, let me make sure that I have a sound on here, and you see our ducks back there. Okay, so can you hear this? Let me put it on.
So look at your organic matter. What kind of forest?
Can you hear that, Traci?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. So he's talking about these trees. This is a picture of in Lahaina, somewhere in Maui. The aluminum is melted out. The glass is melted out. The door handles are melted out. It's all white ash. In a wildfire, it should be black ash, and none of the trees are burned. So I'm just going to let him, it's going to be a little bit about a minute long, but this is really important. If you don't believe that Maui was attacked, this just might change your mind.
Fire forgot all the trees. It's
And,
working.
and you said something about the eucalyptus before we
Yeah,
started.
eucalyptus is one of the most flammable or combustible leaves I know of. Here in the States, California, we have many species. And the blue gum is the one I see the most. I can pull the leaves off the tree, green, take a cigarette lighter and light them on fire every time. And they burn pretty
Wow.
quick. If you put them in a small campfire, you better back up. These things, the oils in them are very flammable. And also your California bay tree, which is in your laurel family, along with camphor trees and avocado trees.
And the reason why he's saying this is because this man, he's a 48-year arborist. He's been to over 38 fire locations over the past 7 years, over 100 times. And this is why he's saying this. He's saying these trees are not burning in these fires. And this is what he explains.
And many others. The California bay tree has a ton of oils. When I'm camping in the Bay Area, these are different parks, and I can hardly see my campsite, and I want to find my way back to my tent. I grab some of those leaves, put them in my little campfire. Instantly, I've got big flames everywhere. In 7 years now, I've not seen one leaf of either species burn. Any eucalyptus species and any of the California bay leaves, even when the leaves are hanging down on the ground where the fire is, they're not igniting.
Oh my gosh. So that I'm curious about that, because you said microwave waves to create fire creates such a hot fire. That's so interesting of why they wouldn't burn, but that's a whole different topic. Go ahead and keep going.
All I can say is they don't recognize the organics, even though they're super hot. They seem to be much hotter than our regular wood fires, but for whatever reason, they're not recognizing organics. They turn everything brown. They suck the water out of it like it's in a microwave oven in your kitchen, leave them brown or a light shade of green, but it will not ignite them unless they're in close proximity to metals. Or
you're talking about the fire. The fire
right.
doesn't recognize the eucalyptus organism. Oh my gosh, the organics of that organism. Yeah. Wow.
It has to be in close proximity to your metals, whether they're ferrous or non-ferrous, like aluminum, or creeks and water. And I heard along the shore here, the water was on fire, and they made up a lame excuse that there's oil and diesel and all that. No, the water itself was on fire, and I haven't seen pictures of it, but I've already heard that.
Mm-hmm. So I'll stop it there. There's a few other things I want to share about this, because what you have to understand when you are looking at this and you're going, what? This can't be. This is like impossible. But oh, here it is. Browse 48. And oops, sorry, wrong one. Let me close this out. Stop screen share. Sorry, you guys, I want to get to this one other area and show you. Where is it? But when I first started studying this, I was like, this is insane. This can't be. But now it's now it can't be anything other than what I'm talking about. Because
I wanted to mention tomorrow I have a video coming out going into detail about the military operations that were going on preceding the attack, and some of the craft that were seen in the sky during the fire. So that'll be even more evidence that it was an attack.
Yes, and this is what I want to show too, is people don't understand why would they do this to Maui, right? Here's the thing. It is right here. The first thing you have to understand is that Maui was set up to be the first smart city. So during this period between 2011 2016, there has been a smart community project called Jump Smart Maui, held in the island of Maui, US, with the objective and effective utilization of renewable energy that had been penetrating on a large scale, widespread deployment of electric vehicles and smart community. And this part's really important. Was constructed by Hawaiian and Japanese stakeholders, headed by the New Energy and Industrial Technology Development Organization, NEDO, of Japan. So a smart city, a smart community was constructed by Hawaii and Japanese stakeholders. Now, I just want to say this because where do they want to put this corridor? They want to put it right here in Lahaina. This is a map. This is the urban corridor center. All the red is where the urban corridor center would be in Lahaina. But here's the thing, they couldn't do this because of the historical preservation law, the historical preservation law. But what happens is the governor, he actually suspends these laws. So in his first proclamation of the homelessness, he was the first governor in history to create an emergency proclamation with no emergency. And I'll show you the ridiculousness of this. But he suspends these laws. This is totally against the Constitution, you guys. He can't use this bill. HR 127 is against the Constitution, and I'll show you how. But he suspends laws, and the very first one he suspended, historic preservation law. He suspends that one. He suspends 6 of them. He suspended the civil service law. He suspended collective bargaining in employment, and also public officers and employments excluded from collective bargaining. All these are checks and balances. And then the most crazy one that he suspended was the public agencies meetings and records. Basically now the public doesn't know about government meetings. It's not recorded. There's no public testimony because he's suspended this law for housing. And here's this bill is totally 100% against the Constitution. That this is 127 Policy Act. These are emergency powers given to the governor. But here's what it says. It actually shows you how contradictory it is to the Constitution. This chapter shall be liberally construed to effectuate its purpose, provided that this chapter shall not be construed as conferring any power or permitting any action which is inconsistent with the Constitution and laws of the United States. Here's the thing. The whole bill is inconsistent with the Constitution. By giving away legislative power and giving it to the governor, you're turning him into a dictator, and you can't do that. You can't do that with the Constitution. Now, there was a lawsuit that was happening, and they dropped it, which is a real bummer. But let me show you guys what it said. And then also, because this emergency proclamation, new lawsuit attacks, let's see here, new lawsuit attacks the governor's emergency broad plan to build more housing. And it basically states that he was working on this for 6 months. You guys, you can't have an emergency proclamation. Now, Hankins, his name is David Hankins. He was the attorney for Earth Justice and another company for the land and to Earth that they were suing, and I'll show you the video on that. It's a brief, like 30-second thing. Defendant Governor Green and others of his administration worked on the proclamation for at least 6 months, you guys, prior to the proclamation's insurance during that time, with over 200 individuals. So this is legislation. Legislation has 6 months that they create these bills, and they have all these meetings. This is what the governor did for emergency. And let me just show you guys this, because this is a quick video. The environmentalists dropped the lawsuit, which they should not have done, because it completely violates the Constitution. And I'll show you, have it turn on to this one part where the governor
has once again
let me get it going.
Changed his emergency housing.
It's right
more
here.
Affordable housing.
Projects was enacted in July's revision.
All right, here we go.
Cultural and good government protections to troubleshoot our housing challenges.
The Sierra Club, ACLU, and 3 local community groups sued the state, but now the lawsuit is withdrawn, even though they say there are lingering concerns.
We're willing to withdraw our lawsuit for now and take a wait-and-see approach. We have a basic concern about the governor identifying important public policy issues as emergencies that justify the use of emergency management powers.
The alarm is that we can't find housing for our children. That is the actual alarm.
For those that question whether there's an emergency proclamation, let me just say, Hawaiians are dying out there.
The state had said...
Okay, I want to pause it there, because I just want to say that is such propaganda. It's such propaganda. They're using the children, and they're saying people are dying. Was there news reports saying, oh, all these homeless people are dying, the morgues are full with all these homeless people, we have to create an emergency? No, this man spent 6 months on this emergency proclamation to get what he wanted passed. Even the legislator, he tried to do it through the legislation, but the legislation was denying him to do this. So he did it anyway. This is why this is so against the Constitution. It turned him into a dictator. And yeah, so this is why this is against the Constitution.
Months, that means he was just sworn in January, right? Mm-hmm. So he immediately got on this right when he took office.
Yeah.
Sounds like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the last thing I want to share around this, so if you guys are still questioning, this is scary to think that, that our government would be harming our people. But what you have to understand is this is not a government. This is a corporation. It is a corporation. What did that say? It said Hawaiian stakeholders, Japanese stakeholders. And I want to scroll down to show you guys that direct energy weapons, that this stuff is real. As far as this is a Direct Energy Weapons Systems Acquisition Act of 2016, but they have had direct energy. They've been working with direct energy weapons since the 1960s. This is in Congress, congress.gov, and this literally states, I want to go to the text area and scroll down here where it says, the Committee of Armed Services of the Senate noted that the report accompanying S 1356 that since the 1960s, the Department of Defense has invested more than $6 billion in direct energy science technology initiatives, and the committee is this is crazy. This makes my blood boil. The committee is concerned that despite the significant investment, the department's direct energy initiatives are not resourced at levels necessary to transition them to full-scale acquisition. So they made this acquisition act so they could spend more on direct energy weapons and get this to where they wanted it to be. So there's also a patent for a direct energy weapon apparatus. And what did the arborist say? The 40-year arborist, he said that it was microwave energy that did this, that leaves white ash, not black ash. Wildfires leave black ash everywhere, black soot everywhere. This was all white. Microwave transmission using a laser-generated plasma beam waveguide. This is a U.S. patent for this apparatus. And yeah, so this is craziness. And I have everything on this website, you guys. I even have, and this is another one that scared me when I saw it. I was like, oh my gosh. Defense Technology Information, preserving knowledge, connecting people, inspiring. This is from the Forest Service of Washington, D.C. Forest fire as a military weapon. Okay, you can look this up. This is all on Maui Fires, standtogether.com/Maui Fires. It's all here. And the other thing that we want to share is, the governor at the UN, at the United Nations, he says, climate change, here we're right in the middle of it. This is, it's happening now. And he says, the ocean levels are rising. Is Kona underwater? Is Hilo? Is any place around the world? What about Venice, where they pretty much live in the water? It's rivers. Nothing is underwater. And then not only that, but and he says, he just makes my blood boil with all of his lies. There is no climate emergency. Check this out. This was signed by 1,609 scientists from around the world. A climate declaration had 1,609 signatories of scientists. You actually had to be an accredited scientist to sign this. My friend who worked for the national security tried to sign this. They wouldn't let her because she's not an actual scientist. But here's what they said. To believe the outcome of a climate model is to believe what the model makers have put in. This is precisely the problem of today's climate discussion, to which climate models are central. Climate science has degenerated into a discussion based on beliefs, not on sound critical science. Should not we free ourselves from the naive belief in immature climate models? And if people still are just like, what is she talking about? I did want to share this little clip that talks about the Milekovich models. This is David Dilley. He is, well, let me just tell him, let you hear who he is, and then he's going to show one thing about climate, which is it's really interesting because he shows the model of where we are and where we were 8,000 years ago.
David Dilley. Thank you, Tom, for having me again. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm a former meteorologist with NOAA, National Weather Service, United States Air Force. Currently, senior researcher, meteorologist, climatologist at Global Weather Oscillations Incorporated. 50 years of experience in meteorology and climatology. So I'm going to be able to show you a few things.
So I wanted to show you, and let me escape this so that I can see it better. If you guys can see that better. There we go. I want to go to the Milekovich cycles so that you guys can see what he's talking about. This is, well, let me just have him tell you.
Milekovich cycles of the Earth, Moon, Sun interactions, electromagnetic cycles. Essentially, this is what it is. The Earth goes around the sun in an elliptical path. Every 120,000 years, the Earth becomes closest to the sun. And then about 60,000 years later, it's the furthest approach from the sun, greater distance. So the bottom half of this is all ice age, very cold due to less sunshine and also the tilt in our axis. Our closest approach was 8,000 years ago. We were warmer 6,000 to 8,000 years ago than we were today. The reason was we were the closest approach to the sun and came out of an ice age. We're 8,000 years off the peak now. We're actually cooling down.
So I wanted just to share that you can.
And this is the cycles.
Cancel that.
The Milekovich cycles, 120,000 year cycles. Back 450,000.
And so there's also a whole thing about the weather pattern that I did a video on that you guys can watch, or go to standtogetherhawaii.com and you'll see it there, because they do have weather modification capability, which they have had for a very, very long time. And I can actually show you that in Congress as well. So it's up to us to really do our due diligence and understand that the way we think the world is not what's happening here. The government is not a government. These are for-profit people, and they think that they can just disregard the Constitution and basically murder people, because that's what they did in Lahaina. It was absolute attack. This is October 13th, 1976, and it was passed in Congress. It is a bill for direct energy weapons. The enrollment bill will direct the Secretary of Commerce to conduct a study, it's a review and analysis of research efforts and needs in weather modification technology. This is in 1976, you guys, long, long time ago. There's another US patent for a weather modification apparatus. And so I showed Bruce Douglas, who has studied the weather on the islands of Hawaii for 15 years. This is a method of apparatus for altering region of the Earth's atmosphere, ionosphere, and magnetosphere. So this stuff is happening. It is available. And the governor suspending these laws 22 days before the fire. He suspends these laws. And so that's what we're doing. We're creating an affidavit, which I have it written right here. It's already set to go. I'm getting it notarized this afternoon, and then going to be sending it registered mail. Anyone can do this, Americans, and it's particularly those in Maui and Lahaina who have actual testimony of eyewitness, what they've seen, what they saw with the police blockading the road. I have that in there, but it'll be way more powerful if the people in Lahaina who saw this write their affidavit and send it in. That would be really, really powerful. In fact, if you do that, please email me, and I want to get a list of everybody who's doing their affidavit, so that when we take the governor to court, everybody can be in on that, because this man needs to be peaceably removed from office. He is a treasonous traitor to this country, as well as Maui city council members, as well as the Maui mayor. They're all traitors to this country, traitors to the Constitution. And it's like people go, Michelle, I get emails and our comments, and Michelle, keep you safe, keep you safe. This is all a game, you guys. In my view, in my opinion, how I live my life is that this world and this life is a game for our soul, our spirit, to step up We do something that scares us, and we go forward through it, trusting in a greater power. There's something beating my heart, breathing my body, moving the sun, running the tides in the ocean. I don't know what that intelligence is, but that intelligence has got this. And if I trust in that intelligence and I go, okay, universe, I'm going to step forward and I'm going to trust you've got me, you've got my back, and I'm just going to keep going and do what I know is right. Not what is easy. What is easy is to sit my ass in front of a television screen for hours. And, that's what's easy. But what is right grows my spirit. It grows who I am as a person. And what is right is what is needed to happen right now, because these dark entities that have run the world for a very long time, have taken over our government, need to be removed from office in a peaceable way, which they will be. Or I believe many are going to voluntarily step down, which many have. Many have. I believe it was in Florida. There's been many cities where their government officials who were doing things they shouldn't be doing have voluntarily stepped down in a peaceful way. And we can have that in Hawaii as well.
Do you have like a date that you're planning to get all the affidavits in?
I would like to do it within the next 2 weeks. I'm doing mine today. And then, yeah, if you guys want, you can send yours to me and I'll take a look at it. I am having mine sent to Jack and Margie, who are constitutional. I can't remember how they name themselves, Citizens of America, I think. And they have been using this type of affidavit structure for over 60 years. So they're the ones who've really helped write this out. So if you look at it and you go, wow, this is really thorough. It's really thorough. And the language is there because of Jack and Margie. They really helped out.
All right. That's amazing. Thank you so much for putting this together, because that's a lot of, where I'm reporting and I'm getting all these information, bits of information and putting things together, but I don't have experience in what do you do next? Like, and then what? We got all this information, all this evidence, but then what? And so this is what the next step is. And also, there's recalls I've heard, but those take so long, right? This is going to be right away, 15 days. And if there's no response, then a judge is going to see this case, right?
Yeah, hopefully,
so
hopefully, yes.
Makes me feel better, because by the time the recall happens,
and the thing is you can't recall the governor in Hawaii. You have to have 2/3 of the legislative body in Hawaii needs to say yes, he needs to be recalled. That's nearly impossible. It's possible, but it's nearly impossible. So here's the thing: that people need to stand up. There's people around the world standing up to their governments, and we need to do that too. We need to show them that America we are free for a reason. We have this ability, we have this opportunity. In China, this never could go down. You don't have affidavits in China because it's a communist country. Well, ours is headed that direction very quickly if we do not do something. And it is our responsibility. So, and also what I do, Traci, when I get stuck and I'm like, because I didn't know what to do. I was doing protests, I was doing all this stuff. I would just go and I would walk in nature and I'd be like, what's next? What is next? Because there is a frequency. This is not empty space. This is a frequency field of intelligence that surrounds us all the time. This isn't it feels your energy. You ask something and you open up to it coming, the answer coming in whatever way it needs to come without you thinking about it. It will come to you. It will show up. It'll be magic. Somebody will call you. You'll run into somebody at the store. That's the whole part of the game. The game that we're playing is to surrender, to be in truth of your truth, be inspired to do whatever it is you're inspired to do, and then leave it to the universe. Say, because I see the prayers I do. I say they are peaceably being removed from office. They are stepping down. We get to watch as they are removed from office in a peaceful way. We get to watch as they voluntarily step down, whichever is in the highest good for all people. We get to watch as we are free, as we claim our freedom, and it shows up for all people around the world, that the people live in peace and harmony with each other. We get to watch as this unfolds. So just trust that, trust your heart, and ask, what's the truth? What do I need to do next? And then open up to however that can show up for you, and it'll show up.
I'm so glad you said that, because that's exactly what I experienced when I first started doing this. I didn't think anyone was going to watch my Maui videos. But I just felt this very strong drive and this like fire in me that said, you have to do something, whether someone sees it or not. And things just kind of fell in place without me really understanding what was going to happen or what needed to happen. So I love how you explained it like that, because I didn't really understand it quite the way you said it. So thank you so much for all this information, Michelle. Thank you for all you're doing and for giving us a way to get involved and actually do something. So I'm going to do this, get this printed out and send it. You want me to send it to you or send it to the office?
Send it to the office. You have to get it
Okay.
notarized. Yeah, it has to be notarized by, and so you can do that with a call your bank. Normally, there's a free notary at your bank, or you can, I think it's like $15 for a regular notary. But it does need to be notarized, so you don't sign it until you're in front of the notary and they watch you sign it. Then you do registered mail. You do registered mail, so you get proof that they got it. And then we keep going forward. So please join standtogetherhawaii.com, because I will put an email out saying I put it in, it's submitted, and I'll be writing the next steps of what we do for that. Yeah.
And just let you know that we did it. So you have a
Yes.
list of everyone that sent their affidavit in. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Amazing. Thank you so much, Michelle.
All right.
I'm
Aloha.
so appreciative of everything you're doing and for coming on and explaining it to all of my viewers. So is there anything else you wanted to add, or?
Just if people would go also to my YouTube channel, Blossom Inner Wellness. I am totally being shadow banned. My subscribers are like they're frozen or they're going down, and so
Yeah.
like I know something's going on with that. Also, this is for the Voice of Kona radio show 1.100.5 FM. And yeah, Stand Together Hawaii. Just join us there, you guys. We've got this. We've totally got this. It's not too late. Just trusting in that higher power. Each one of us deals with anxiety. That's part of the programming of these people that have taken over our government. They want us to live in fear, but we are way more powerful than we even understand, because we've been lied to so much. Like they say that 95% of our DNA is junk DNA. It's not. That makes me laugh, because they're so powerful. Like we don't understand exactly who and what we are.
Right.
But if we just let go, let that fear go, and trust and have faith and just keep going. We've got this. It's a game. This is a pawn. This is friggin' Monopoly. And this is my pawn, and this is where I'm at. And we've got this, you guys. And thank you, Traci, for all you do, because it takes courage. It takes courage. And you had faith. You just were like, I'm just going to do this and see what happens. That's what this is. Because I don't know what's going to happen either. I'm going to send this out. I'm going to trust. I'm going to do the court thing. I don't know, but I'm going to try. We got to try something.
And then taking that fear off, because I dealt with that. I still deal with it. And at one point, you got to just decide not to let that stand in your way.
Yeah. And what I do with fear is I when I start to feel it, I go, okay, I put my hands on my heart, because I connect to my heart, and I say, Michelle, this is a normal human feeling. This is a normal human feeling. There's nothing wrong with this feeling. There's nothing right. There's nothing good or bad. It's just a frequency. And I breathe into the feeling and I just go, this is okay. This is a normal human feeling. And what happens when I breathe, because when you're in fear, you shallow breathe, and it's stress, your anxiety, it's shallow breathing. You breathe all the way down and you fully accept the emotion. Then it starts to dissolve. It starts to dissolve out of your body. Then you have choice. Then you have freedom to choose what is your next thought that you want to create. And mine is always looking at the stars and going, just show me the truth and guide me. What's next? And that's how I live. I'm not always perfect at it, but I do my best.
Well, you're amazing, and you inspire me, and you inspire many, many people. So thank you so much. And I'm sure I will see you soon for another update or maybe some information about the smart city. So
yeah, we'll go
so
there
much,
for
Michelle.
Sure. All right,
I'll
aloha.
put everything in the description. So if anyone wants to link to her channel or any of these documents, I'll put it down in the description.
Oh, mahalo, sister. All right, I'll see you soon.
All right. Bye.